Hey guys, it's Lakon here. This is Six Figure Mindset. Another amazing guest that we've got today. Her name is Crystal Poku. I am telling you, you're really going to love this story. Hi Crystal.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
No worries, thanks for having me.
I know you're a busy lady. Got a lot of stuff going on, so it's a pleasure to have you on. So tell us, who are you? What do you do?
Okay, sure. So I am an HR director at a global bank. And I essentially lead a team of HR partners who work with our global and our most senior leaders across the firm.
Brilliant. So I was going to dig a little bit, but I feel like we should move on. But no, maybe I should dig a bit. So when you say what you do today, just so that people can understand, when you talk about the caliber of individuals you're dealing with, are we talking about some of the most influential people in finance?
Yes. So typically, we have our operating committee, which will consist of our CAO and our heads of all of our different lines of businesses. They will then have senior leaders who are managing quite big populations, in some cases thousands of people. And my team essentially are the HR partners who work with those senior leaders to determine their people strategy and their HR agenda.
And that's UK, US, or is that global?
So my role is regional. So my team are here, but some of my team members look after global heads that are both based here in the region and also in the US, where we have our headquarters.
Excellente. So let's go back. So you're obviously in an amazing position now, but you came from somewhere, right? You just didn't appear in the role that you're in now. Yeah. So what area did you grow up in?
I grew up in Northwest London. I was born in Edgware.
I feel like I have something to say about that, but I'll keep going. So technically, for those that are from the US, Northwest London is also called North Wheezy.
Yes.
But do you associate yourself with North Wheezy or not really?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my parents, their house is in Colindale. My siblings live there. I don't live there at the moment, but yeah, I spent quite a big proportion of my life in Northwest London. So yeah, I would say.
So you did school, primary, secondary?
So I started primary school, went to primary school in Northwest London. We lived in Graham Park. It was a council estate. And then...
Really?
Yeah.
There's no way that you go... Seriously?
Yeah.
But when you say council estate, what level of council estate are we talking? Is this like a safe...
I mean, you can Google it. Graham Park was a pretty notorious estate in Northwest London.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So...
It's very different now because they've completely, it's like exactly, and Colindale is just completely, blows my mind whenever I go there. It's very different. But yeah, it was pretty notorious.
So how was school then? And
so,
how did that work?
Yeah, so we lived in the UK until I was 8, and then we went back home to Ghana for a couple of years. So as a child, I loved it. Living on a council estate, it didn't really feel like we lived in a rough neighbourhood because it was like a community. And also, I guess, for me, we only lived there until I was 8, and then we went back home to Ghana and then came back in my teens. So in some ways, there was a proportion of my life that I didn't spend here. Mm-hmm. I guess the years where you could argue that I could have been influenced negatively.
Yeah.
So for me, it was great. My parents did their best to provide for us, and it was great, being raised in that community.
So when you came back for secondary school, was it for year 7 or did you come back later?
No, I was 14. So,
so you came
quite
back,
a challenging time, actually.
Dumped into SATs, right? Or just before SATs or something?
GCSEs, yeah.
Oh, right.
Just about getting ready for GCSEs.
So how was Ghana?
Ghana was brilliant.
Did you want to come here? Did you want to come back?
Come back to the UK? No. But then I didn't want to go to Ghana at the time. At the age of 8, I was like, why are my parents doing this? But, I understood at the time. My mum wanted to go back home and spend time with my grandma, who unfortunately passed away, a couple of years into us moving out there, which is why we ended up coming back to the UK.
Sorry to hear that. And that's not easy.
Yeah.
So when you came back, I'm assuming... So hold on, when you came... That's true. So when you came from Colindale, go to Ghana, did you now have your accent?
Yes, I had a Ghanaian accent, which I can put on at any point. It's when I go to Ghana, I speak with my Ghanaian accent. I'm with my people, so, And then when I'm back here, I can kind of put the British accent back on.
Jeez! See that? Love it. So you're like a chameleon. Awesome. So with coming back to the UK, you can put your British accent back on, so you
Yeah.
can easily mingle back in. There's no integration issues when you came back.
Yeah, I struggled, definitely.
okay.
Yeah, because I guess I was a teen, right? And it's, the struggles, the challenges that come with moving into your teen years. It's hard. When I joined, most of the kids had established friendships from year 7.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so
But there was one friend. In fact, there was a couple of them. There's 3 friends who really kind of took me under their wings. They're still in my life. One of them is in Texas at the moment. We've still got a really good relationship. But I think I'm very fortunate that I was able to meet those very small group of girls who, embraced me, I guess.
So was you very academic at school?
I was average, I would say. So in Ghana, we went to like a fee-paying school. Obviously, coming back here, the curriculum was different. So it was quite an adjustment, having to come here, get yourself ready for GCSEs, learning subjects and topics that weren't taught in Ghana. So I think it was quite a transition.
But was the standard in Ghana higher in terms of the maths and English, or did you seem like you were repeating the stuff you were learning for those subjects, or did you feel like you were behind?
It's a really good question. I think that it was a different way of teaching, if that makes sense. So I guess you just didn't know what you didn't know.
Right.
I would say that the standard in Ghana was higher in certain topics. But I think coming back here, as I said before, learning a completely different curriculum. I think if I'd gone to an international school in Ghana, then perhaps it would have been an easier transition.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely was a learning curve. But on the whole, I think in answer to your original question, which was I academic, I would say that I was pretty average.
Was you into sports?
No.
So what was your thing then as a teenager?
What was my thing? I don't know if I had a thing.
So was you an artist? Did you sing? Did you dance?
I did. I was part of a choir, so I
Okay.
did sing. But I didn't really have
You can give us
anything
a
that I was.
rendition now?
No, absolutely not. But I didn't have anything that I was really that passionate about, honestly. Because I know, most kids, whether it's academics or different activities, I just didn't really have a thing, if that makes sense.
Cool. But you
Yeah.
are the eldest child,
I
right?
am.
So did you have responsibilities for your siblings that took up your time and mind, or not really at that time?
Not necessarily, but I do think that being the eldest meant that there are certain things that I probably did have to learn on my own, right? I had to be very, I think it taught me to be quite driven and to learn, because I didn't have anybody that I necessarily had to look up to, if that makes sense. And even to this day, I'm known as sort of the problem solver. Like if anyone has an issue in my family, like my brother's 33, sorry. My sister is 29 actually. And even at those big ages, there is still things that they will come to me on to help out, along with my parents.
Yeah, of course. I'm the oldest, so that's the reason why I can fully empathise. Even when you were saying it, something in me started shifting, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So secondary school goes well, your GCSEs, you passed, you're fine?
Yeah, I did fine. I didn't have like amazing grades. I think I had just sort of a mixture of B's and C's. I think I had like 1A, which I was really proud about, but just overall I was pretty average just in terms of academics.
And you go to college?
I went to sixth form, so I stayed at the secondary school that I was at that had a sixth form.
And what did you study?
It was business studies, and I think it was some kind of English subject.
Like a language or lit?
Lit.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
I did fine.
A-levels was fine?
Yeah, A-levels were fine. I got 2 B's and a C. Again,
Yeah.
I wasn't like a, high-flying.
This is so interesting because when
Yeah.
we hear your headline, it's like, oh, she must be a this, she must be a that. So you passed A-levels. Do you go to your first choice university?
Yes, I went to Surrey University.
Why Surrey?
Why Surrey? I think at the time, just sort of looking at the league tables, it was pretty decent. I did have a teacher who, again, because I hadn't been in the UK or back in the UK for that long, I did need a lot of help. So I did have a teacher who's, spent time with me sort of researching different schools, and it was at the time pretty good. I think it's even improved over the years. So I went there to study economics.
Why economics?
Because so I studied. I said to you before, just in terms of my A levels, I did business studies, but I think this, and again, just thinking back, the teacher's view, because business studies was really popular, like a lot of people wanted to study like business management or whatever, and she felt that I would have a bit more of a competitive advantage studying economics, which is why I went down that route. At that time, economics probably wasn't as popular as it is now. So yeah,
So
that was why.
what do you think she saw about you that said, this is your path? Well, not your path, but you should go down this road.
I don't know, in all honesty. I actually think that maybe just her thoughts around how I could set myself apart from the broader population of many people who were going to study business management. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything specific that she saw me as like a spark or whatever. But yeah, it was just, look, business management is really popular. Like, if you want to set yourself apart, economics is maybe harder in some ways. So why don't you just give yourself the challenge?
So you go there to Surrey, but then Surrey also had, was it placement as well? Was Sandwich a standard, isn't it?
I did. Yes, Sandwich year. So I did a year's placement, and I worked for a recruitment agency.
How was that first?
It was
this your first job?
interesting. No,
Okay.
no, I'd had many roles, retail. I'd actually worked in banks as well, 2 banks, before I got to do my Sandwich placement. So yeah, it wasn't my first job. It was fine. It was agency, so there was a lot of sales. But I think it gave me quite a nice insight into human resources, because I would partner with the HR people in-house, which I found quite interesting. I think as I started my studies in economics, I think at that time there was sort of a view that, you know, studying economics or business management, you'd end up kind of going into finance or banking or whatever. But then when I did my placement year and got exposed to HR, I thought, oh, this could be quite interesting, which is what led me to my HR career.
Great. So university goes well.
Yes.
You pass.
Yeah.
Toss the hat. Everyone's
Yep.
proud. First child.
Yes.
You tick the box. How does Crystal feel about herself? Do you feel accomplished? Do you feel like you're ready to take on the world? Are you fearful? Do you remember how you felt at that time going into the world of work?
Yeah, no, I was super proud, but because I'd had quite a bit of work experience already, like I worked at, it used to be called Abbey National back then.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I worked as a teller. I'd worked at NatWest in business banking as like a business administrator. This was actually whilst I was studying. I used to work at a business banking office in Farnham in Surrey, along with all the retail experience that I had. So I wasn't scared at all. I was like really excited just to kind of get on with it. I think my mum had always taught me the importance of hard work, you know, earning a living, and that meant that right from the young age, I guess from when I could work, 16, like for most of us, I was like, right, what can I do? And I was fortunate to get just not the retail experience, but the actual, I guess, more professional experience in the form of Abbey and NatWest.
Nice. And then how do you go about getting your first job? Do you take some time, or did you go straight from university into your
Straight from university into my first job. So the agency that I worked for, they provided, in addition to providing agency recruitment, they also provided on-site services for certain banks.
Right.
So there was a particular bank that I was interested, quite frankly, I was interested in getting a job in any bank, but because they had quite a big presence at this particular bank, I remember reaching out once I completed my placement, just to say, look, once I'm done, I'd be really keen to go in-house, given I'd had a bit of exposure to it while I was working in the agency and having interactions with the in-house HR people. So, you know, they kept me in mind. I did a pretty good job during my Sandwich placement, so they offered me a role. And then
As a recruitment consultant?
As a recruitment coordinator, but in-house, within the
on-site.
on-site
Right.
at a bank.
Cool. So how long was you at your first bank?
Not long, about a year.
Cool. Why? Why only a year?
Because I really, really wanted an opportunity to become permanent within the bank. And there weren't, I mean, I was, you know, applying to roles. And in fact, an opportunity came up with another bank. A friend of mine worked there. And she was like, oh, this is a great role. If you're interested, let me know. And then I can refer you. So I applied and I got a permanent job working for another bank. But it wasn't in recruitment. It was more kind of HR advisory.
So career-wise, you get into this first role,
Yep.
HR role. So
Yeah.
are you now saying in yourself, I'm going to be a HR professional?
I think at that point, yes.
So what, 22, 23?
Yes.
And you just say, this is it, this is my path in life.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I think my experience until that point was quite positive. You know, I think I'd done really, really well on my placement, my Sandridge year placement. I made a really good start moving on site, working for this other bank, and I enjoyed it. And also in my I didn't mention this, but in my final year of my university studies, I actually did select some HR topics. So I did human resource economics and industrial relations.
Right,
So
right.
it started to kind of, I guess, trigger my interest into, I guess, human capital management and HR. So I think once I got into this permanent position, that was it for me, just in terms of, right, I'd love to kind of have a career in HR.
So here's the question I have.
Yeah.
Who cares about HR? It's not sexy. It's not exciting
It
to us people.
Yeah.
So why? What is it about? Why do you care about HR, human resources, human capital management? What is the appeal? Sell it to us.
Forward